Hey guys, hope you all are having fun with the Whirling / Ignite build. Since the last video, I have made a couple changes to the build, and some of them completely free and will give you a lot more damage. So I wanted to show that to y'all today and give you everything that I changed since then. So let's dive into it. Right now, we'll start with the free things. First things first, with the gems, I did make some changes here, mainly in one, now that I have more spirit. I am now using a companion with Overcharge, Last Gasp, Loyalty, and Meat Shield. That way we have a little bit more damage mitigation. And our companion is a Quadrilla that does all damage shocks. So basically this is mostly for our one-on-one damage against bosses. So it can go shock bosses, give us more damage, and that is very good. In addition to that, we have Voltaic Mark, which will also give us more damage against bosses. So this makes it so our shocks are going to be more effective against enemies. So that is why we are using these two in combination with each other. Now, in addition to that, we have made some other changes, especially to the tree. These are the big changes that we made for this character, and that unlocked a lot of additional damage that we didn't have before. And this was a completely free change. So if you are playing this build right now, you can actually make these changes yourself to get a lot more damage. Well, one thing that's not completely free is offensive stance. This is going to unlock an extra 75% damage for you. So if you don't have the money for this, you're going to be missing out a little bit of damage, and maybe you'll need to wait again. So maybe it wasn't completely free. But besides that, everything else was completely free. And actually, even if you don't have that anoint, even if you still are using the old Falcon Dive anoint, well, it's kind of useless at this point because we are pathing into Falcon Dive. So you get something else in the meantime that'll just be cheap and give you some damage. But we made a lot of changes to the skill tree, which is going to be easier to look at in POB. Now, what we mainly did was over here in the companions section. So because we, at the beginning of the map, when we do our setup, our companion is always there, we can take advantage of the companion nodes that give us damage to help with snapshotting. Because we have this node right here, Inspiring Ally, which makes all increases and decreases to companion damage apply to me. So what we do is we grab all the companion damage nodes, and these companion damage nodes are beefy. If you look at this, right, it's 12% increased damage to your companions, but also another 8% increased damage to yourself while you're in the presence of your companions. So if we use this node right here, all increases and reductions apply to ourselves as well. Each one of these tiny nodes is a 20% increase in damage. So we go and grab these nodes right here. So that's 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120. We also grab the ones over here, 140 and 160 extra damage to our character, which is a lot of free damage. There's one more node right here, but I don't have the points to grab it. So we are missing out a little bit of damage there. When we get more levels, we can get into there if we really wanted to. But that is a lot of extra damage that we are getting off of our companion now that we just weren't getting before. Mainly in the past, we were using this to add damage, but this was a total of what, like 10, 20, 30, 40, and then 24, so that's 64, and then we add another 25, so that's 89, whereas now we're getting 140. So that is a lot of extra damage that we've unlocked on our tree just for free. Now, because we're down here, we also pathed into these nodes right here for the extra block chance, because this one gives you an extra 30 and this one gives you an extra 15. So those are very efficient nodes. So we were able to basically unallocate all of these nodes right here. And we also unallocated off of these two nodes right here. And all of that will ultimately give us the 75% block chance that we need on our second weapon swap to get the maximum amount of damage from 1 lay siege and 2, again, offensive stance. So those are some really, really big changes that we made to our tree that is going to unlock a ton of damage. Now, I am at the moment slotting out of this section right here. If you'll see on my tree, I don't have that allocated in, and that does make us lose a little bit of a attack speed, but honestly, our attack speed is pretty dang fast already. So I don't really see that big of an issue with the fact that we lost attack speed there. And we're not even capped on attack speed. Like, for example, my gloves can still have attack speed. We can still have more accuracy on this, probably a little bit more accuracy than this. So those are going to be big changes that are going to be giving you a lot of attacks, a lot of damage that we did to our tree. Eventually, I would like to try to find some way to spec out of these and go into here, because honestly, these are kind of inefficient nodes if you think about it, because we only get 8, 8, and 10 increase AoE, because killing recently, we don't really do that at the beginning of the map. So that extra 20 is basically useless for us. This would be much better to get 8, 8, and then 16. So I'm going to try to see if we can path down there eventually and still not lose many points, but we'll have to see about that. But those are all the changes I made to the tree. Oh yeah, also these two nodes right here. I tried natural immunity. It just wasn't very good. I thought this would be a lot of ailment threshold and just make it so we wouldn't get frozen or anything like that. But no, I was still getting frozen. It was terrible. So I ended up just specking out of those and going with, just going without them. So that is overall what we did to our tree. And again, you can make those changes right now if you really, wanted to. You're going to be able to unlock a lot more damage. And overall, I think since the last video, at least, I've also made the tree more efficient overall. So that's also really good. Now, in terms of equipment, you'll notice there are probably two changes, right? The first one is we are using Starkonja's head instead of the other unique equipment that we were using that was giving us the percentage stats. This one right here, Black Sun Crest. Overall, if we're talking about ceiling for damage and attack speed, this is still going to be better. If you take a look at our Whirling Slash, we right now have a 5.52 attacks per second. If we put this on, this goes to 5.59, so a little bit faster. But this doesn't give us anything other than attack speed, pretty much. It gives us a little bit of intelligence, which helps us with our survivability, right? But honestly, that little bit of intelligence in terms of EHP does not compare at all to Starkonja's head, because this gives us a flat 15% damage from hits being mitigated by our companion. So if we combine this with the loyalty node, our companion is going to be mitigating 25% damage from our, basically whenever we take damage. And overall, this build, the only time you're ever really going to die is going to be when there's a big slam that you can't avoid, right? So adding more just like flat mitigation for when we get damage dealt to us is just overall very valuable and effective. This so far, I think, is one of the better options. Of course, this isn't a requirement at all. You can definitely go and use another helmet. But right now, I just think that what we need more than anything is a little bit more survivability. And this gives us exactly that. Now, in addition to this, right, also, before we go on, I also made a change to where before, I don't know why I had an accuracy on here instead of attack speed. I thought maybe the attack speed would be worse since it was only 5%, but no, the attack speed soul core is going to be better. So I did end up slotting an attack speed soul core there, and our Scythe of Spear also now has 2 attack speed soul cores that we were able to get from a corruption. So that's another, the other big change that we did there. And then overall, just like upgrading our gear and things like that, right? So that's kind of what we did for our character. And for the skill tree, I also actually made a evasion ES version of this build as well. So if you're looking to play evasion ES, this is an option for you. I'm currently still not as keen on the evasion ES, not because of survivability or anything. I personally think that the evasion ES is probably a little bit more solid in terms of survivability, especially if you have the gear. But personally, right now, I'm still kind of stuck on this mind over matter build, because eventually I'm going to want to run a Marauder Invictus on my chest armor, which means that it will give us less evasion rating and less energy shield, which will overall take our EHP down if we're running evasion energy shield build mainly. But if we're running mind over matter, that change wouldn't change anything. And if we even get like a percentage or like more mana added to our body armor because of like the soul cores and things like that. That would overall even increase our EHP if we went over to the Moira Invictus most likely. So that's kind of why I'm still kind of more stuck on this mind over mana build, matter build, because I think that ultimately I want to run Moira Invictus to get more attributes, maybe even a little bit more spirit to run more spirit gems. Maybe we can get ghost dance in there if we really wanted to. There's a lot of options there. So that's why I'm still going the mind over matter, but I totally understand if you want to go the ESEV route, which is, in my opinion, probably more solid and more convenient before the Moira Invictus. So yeah, I definitely don't blame you for wanting to go this. And here is a tree. You lose, I think, a little bit of attack speed because, again, we don't take these nodes. You can actually later, and it'll be pretty much the same. It'll just be one more point compared to the one that I'm using. But yeah, it's kind of, oh yeah, also you also lose this one right here. You lose precision salvo. So you lose a little bit of attack speed. You kind of gain back some over here with this increased skill speed. So, and you also get finesse, right? So it's a little bit kind of like just like a slight decrease in the attack speed that you're getting. So overall, both are completely viable and both are completely fine. And I will have those in the tree, in the POB that I'm gonna link in the description and in the pinned comment. A lot of you guys are wondering like why I use max roll and it's like the trees are not working. Unfortunately, max roll just doesn't really work very well with multiple trees. I don't know why it doesn't show up. So that's why I've been just using the POB link instead of the max roll link. And some people have requested Mobalytics, but I don't like Mobalytics because you can't import that into POB, which is what I'm using. And I think most people are going to be using to really take a look at their characters and min-max everything. So yeah, that's kind of the reason why for that. So those are the updates we've made. We made our character a little bit stronger, but also just like more efficient, everything like that. Let me know if you guys have any questions down in the comment section below. Happy to answer any of it. But I also stream every single night on twitch.tv/MisoXShiru. So you guys can go over there to answer questions as well. I'm happy to answer any of it. And it's been a lot of fun recently with a lot of more people showing up for this build. So yeah, hopefully I can see you guys on my stream. But if not, hopefully I'll see y'all on the next video. All right, guys. Peace.